Hey everybody, how's it going? So for the last 6 weeks we've been building our dream pier right here on the coast of Shorehaven. It's a fictional city based on Brighton and Hove here in the UK, and the pier itself is heavily borrowed from the real life counterpart in Brighton. It's a spectacular Victorian structure which now contains modern rides and attractions, and it's survived wars, storms, hot summers, being hit by boats and the weight of countless visitors over the year. And here we are in Planet Coaster playing homage to this beautiful place. Come with us as we tour Shorehaven Pier. Let's go. Ah yes, that's right. So 6 weeks worth of work has amounted to this. This is the final tour in Tegid Gam. We don't often get a chance to do this for you, do we, right? So this is where everything begins. This is the entrance of the pier. We've got 3 roller coasters to go on, the Log Flume and the Ghost Train, and we get to see this beautiful Victorian structure in all of its glory. And you get to see just how much we've ripped off Brighton over the last 6 weeks. If you missed the city episode, this is what this looks like. The city looks amazing, right? This has been so much fun. This entire series has been so much fun. So we'll look at the city later on because we're here for the pier, right? Let's just get on with it. So this is where we started. This is so colourful. It just pops so much when you're down at peak level. This is exactly as I wanted this to look, with the blue and the yellow and the white and all of the lights and stuff. I will show you at night at the end of the tour because I've got a surprise. You'll spot that the flags have changed. They are no longer the Nerd Chacho flags. So members of the channel have sent these in. Thank you to you guys. You will see them up on here. Thank you for taking the time to create them and send them over. So I'm not going to go through them individually and one by one, but thank you for your submissions. And we had 6 in, and I had space for 6, so it's like the maths worked out. So if we come across this way, Fisherman's Games are on the right hand side here, and then we do just have this kiddie ride in the front just to draw people in, and then you've also got the same design over here with the churros and ice cream and all the bunting and the flags and the entrance to the pier. Guys, this honestly looks so good. I think I prefer this to the entrance of Grosvenor Gardens, and that is saying something, right? I just love it. So we're going to walk through this way, no turnstiles of course because it's not a ticketed thing, and then we come through to our first bit. So you see the ballroom in the background, and it is just dominating the sightline. You can't even see the rides and stuff that are in the back, but yeah, this is like the area. This is the first food unit that we had. This was such a long time ago. It feels like ages ago, right? So it's cool. I love it. I don't know which side to go down because they're identical, right? But it gives a different feeling every single time. And Brighton is exactly the same thing. Like whether you walk down the left or the right, you get a different feeling. So we're just going to go down this way because this is the way we're going. So all along here, you have seating and parasols and stuff that you can look out to see. So from this side, this is what you would see from, let's actually look at the city. If you're new to this, by the way, Planet Coaster doesn't have a coastal map. So we are dealing with the fact that we've got trees and stuff in the background. We sort of have to just make believe and make do with what we've got, right? So, but this is what you'd see from the city view. And if we are able to go through this way, that's what you see from the other side. So actually, I think I prefer this view. Let's be honest. I think I prefer this one, particularly because you've got the fishing village and stuff that's in the background here. I think this feels a bit more complete. So let's go down this way instead. Anyway, so you've got all of these seats and all of these bits that you can look out to see. And then every now and again, you have these ice cream short stalls or food stalls or something that are dotted up the pier. Brighton's pier is far longer, like much longer than we've got here. But it does its job, right? And then you come up to this bit. This is the ballroom. So this is just... it looks so good. Like when I was building it, I wasn't entirely sure about it, and it was a big build, right? It took a long time to do and a long time to perfect, but it just does look so good. I'm so pleased with how this is. And here we have our first Spike special. So I haven't shown this to you yet. So this is an exclusive to you guys on the tour. It's one of those things where you poke your head through and you take a picture. Spike only managed to do one because these are actually quite difficult to do. You can see that the lion's mane, for example, is made up of probably hundreds if not thousands of tiny little beams, and when you're working at that kind of scale, it's actually quite difficult. So Spike only did the one for me, but I'm grateful for the one that you did because it looks amazing. Look at it. It's just so good. What we did instead get was a sign for Viper, so you know, happy trade-off and all that. I'm pleased with that one. So yeah, this is the old Victorian ballroom then. So the Brighton Brighton Pier's version was actually an old winter garden. So it's kind of got a similar feeling, but this has now been converted into an arcade. And all of this with the intricate details and everything just makes it look so good. And the architecture on this is lovely. I'm not going to dwell too much about going inside here because the episode itself didn't actually do that well. And I'm quite surprised by that. But what I tried to do in here was capture as much of that Victorian feeling ballroom as possible. So right now we would be in like a bit of a restaurant-y type area, or I say restaurant, this would be where all the dinners and things would be happening. So I need to go through here carefully, by the way, because I know that Tegid Cam is not going to like all of these bits of scenery that we can get stuck to. But plenty of games, plenty of noise, plenty of lights, plenty of garishness going on in here. And then you open up into this massive dome, and it supports itself because it's a dome, right? So it's all good. But it opens up into this dome, and this would be the dance area. This would be the dance floor. This would be where you'd have all of your traditional bits, right? So and I've kept the original decor on the panels and stuff as I possibly can out on the side here, and they are all individually kitted out. Now if you want to know how I did the dome, I show you in the dome episode how I've actually done it, but it's essentially one piece that's then copied across throughout the dome in a rotation, and then just decorated and kitted out. So yeah, I've managed to keep as much as I can true to the Victorian feeling in here. And remember that this would be what we call a listed building here in the UK, so it means that you can't actually do anything to the inside. It has to retain its original look and feel from the Victorian days. You can do like non-structural stuff, so you can put games units and stuff in here, but you couldn't actually change or decorate the actual ballroom itself. It would have to stay as it was. So that's what I'm going for here. It's that whole feeling of being the existing Victorian structure. I love how this turned out. Again, I thought when I was building this it was actually quite a bland build, but now I look back at it, I'm all right with it. It's I'm pleased. Yeah, I'm pleased. And then we come out the back here. So if we come in here, there we go. This would have been the servery. This would have been like where the kitchens were, or the staff unit, or I forgot how much noise those machines make, by the way. It's still so distracting. But this would be where the kitchen and stuff would be, so there would be a little bit more effort made in here to convert this, because you would have had to strip it out and stuff, and that's why we've got the posh carpet and whatever down here. So yeah, all the games units and all the game stalls. Yes, love it. And then we walk out this way. There we go, and we're back out on the pier. So this is the next run-up. It's almost identical to the first run-up we had. You know, you've got lots of seats and lots of bins and sight lines and stuff along here. But the difference is the shops are now either side rather than in the middle. So we've got some food shops along this side. And then over the other side, we just do have some gift shops. I didn't really kit these out any more than it was needed, because I kind of thought they were actually good enough as they are, right? So I was working with the 4-meter high shops. So in reality, these would actually be a lot shorter. They probably wouldn't be as tall as they actually are. But because we're dealing with 4 meters and we're stuck to we have to stick to that because that's what the game gives us. I sort of just kitted this out a little bit more, a little bit higher, and actually it works out. It's all right. Like, it's all right, given that it is a game and we can't fight with the game. I like it. It's good, and I like this side bit as well. And this grating down here still makes no sense. I still go to Brighton now and think, why is there a platform on the side that someone could just climb on and fall into the sea? But hey, whatever. It is what it is. It's real. It's all real. And as you know, I've based everything off of observations from the real life counterparts. So everything that you see here exists in real life. So anybody that's thinking, oh, that's not very realistic because I've never seen it before, well, go back and watch the episodes. I show you pictures. It's a real thing. And then we have a restaurant, the Salty Beach. This was my first pun of the series, because I was lacking on puns in this series, I'll be honest. But this is essentially a lovely restaurant that would do amazing food in here. And again, this is still from the Victorian times. You've got lots of exposed beams, and it's nice and chilled, and it's nice and lovely. I didn't end up changing the flooring here, by the way. I know that fans of the channel or viewers of the entire series will know that I was a bit about the flooring, but I decided to keep it as it is because, you know, it works, it's fine, does what it needs to do. I didn't have a better tile to replace it with, so I knew it had to be a tile flooring, so this was just good enough. This was the bar area that I did then. It's mostly made up of Theme Maker's Toolkit stuff. And I wanted, originally I wanted it in the centre as an island bar, but it just didn't work out. It felt better against the wall, and actually it works. Like, it's a different bar style. I've never done this bar style before. But yeah, I like it. It's like, it works. It's as it should be. It's good. By the way, I'm trying to do as many different sightlines that you've not seen in the episodes before, because I know otherwise it's just looking at stuff you've already seen over the last 7 episodes, and it's like, yeah, okay, we get it. Like, let's see something different. And then these are the Victorian stuff that I've just put in just to make it, you know, authentic. And then obviously the roofing and stuff is quite bare. And this is just a room full of seats and stuff. So it's cool. And then look at the pier. These are where the rides. This is where the fun is. I mean, look at the sightline. It's just packed full of stuff. Now, when I was doing the pier, I always use the "does it feel right" test, because Brighton is really compact. There's a lot of stuff in a short space of area. Space of area, is that even a thing? In a small area. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of stuff in a small area, and I'm kind of like, I think this achieves it, especially as we're dealing with the pads and stuff of the rides and whatever. So I think we've actually achieved the feel. It feels right. So anyway, we're going to come over this way and we are going to get our tickets. So there we go. This is our like ticket office. And by tickets, I don't mean park tickets. I mean ride tokens and wristbands and that sort of stuff. This would be a pay as you ride kind of jobber. So yeah, so you're going to get your tickets and stuff from in here. And then this is our first ride. So none of the flat rides, by the way, have names except for the drop tower, which is at the back here. None of the other flat rides have names. So, but we do have our Star Flyer here. It's supposed to be dressed up as a bit of a travelling fair style star ride. And from this angle, that's believable, right? You could kind of believe that this was a travelling fair thing. Well, then you break the believability as they walk through the steps. But hey, it's fine. Don't tell anyone. And then we come through here and you've got lots of clutter going on. You've got lots of other rides. There's a couple of rides down this way. So you've got the Lupo plane, you've got the merry-go-round down here, and then just filling out space and whatever in this area. Now, you will know that I am a bit of a purist and I don't like the fact that we've got all of the curbs showing. But as you already know, I can't do anything about it. It's how the game works and it's how the game how the game deals with raised paths. No, you cannot remove the curbs from raised paths. There is a mod, but the mods don't work. So it is what it is. We've got what we got. So then we've got dodgems on the side here, and I've just tried to hide the pad a little bit here. So I've made the pad a little bit smaller by bringing the fences and stuff in, and then just some picnic benches just to hide the fact that actually this is the pad. It's fine. Then we walk along this way and we get Bombora. Yes, Bombora. Our Eurofighter. So a pier-based Eurofighter would be okay because you can spread the weight over like temporary supports and travelling fair supports. And it works, right? Eurofighters are actually quite lightweight and they do spread the weight quite nicely. So there we go. There's Bombora. And then the pièce de la résistance of this is the sign. The fact that the sign here changes and everything. So if you want to see how I've done that and you haven't already watched the city episode, it is literally the greatest episode you never watched. But I teach you how to do this in the city episode. So if you go back and have a look at that one. We're going to go on this in a moment. So let's actually just take a moment to have a look at it from the external. And it just feels right. It feels exactly as this coaster would do. There's no theming. It's just a roller coaster on a pier. And we're going to walk this way, and there is the station. So there's the Bombora station. There's the queue line just in here. And then let's walk up this way, shall we, into the actual station. There we go. Lots of tread plates, lots of stuff going on in here. Lots of things to look at, lots of detailing that I've done, but not as much detailing as you would find in a park. There's a lot of things with travelling versions of rides that you don't see in a real life park. No other way around. There's lots of travelling things that you wouldn't see, but you would see in a... Do you know what? You know what I'm trying to say? Let's just shut up and go for a ride, shall we? Oh my god, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's not the perfect coaster, right? It's not the perfect layout, and that's because you deal with the 4 meter method and everything just messes everything up. But it is as good as you're going to get for a compact version of a Eurofighter, so I love it. It's good. But this is the sight that you get from the exit path of the Wildmouse. And look how good it is. It's just a mess of steel. It's just a big structure. It's just a vomit thing. It's a vomit comet. That's what it is. And it's just full of colour and full of lights, and it just feels exactly as it should. So we're going to come around this way then, and we've got Fisherman's game stalls here. They're so good. They're just so good. I couldn't do better myself, and that's why I use these. I use these in every single park episode that I do that's like this. They're just so good. Fisherman, I know you watch the channel. Thank you for these, and thank you for your waves as well, which you will see in the tour later on. This is more tickets just in front of Brighton Manor. So this was named by MP, I think, over on the community tab, because we are quite literally ripping off Brighton as much as we possibly can. And the idea behind this is that Brighton has a ghost train, and it is the worst ghost train you'll ever experience. It's quite literally looks amazing from the outside, but it is so bad. And this is what I was going for in here with this one. So a ghost train that looks good on the outside, but on the inside is just a mess of... just a mess. It's just a mess. That's all you can say about it. It's just a mess. So the end of the last episode I did, I had a crash and I had missed some stuff. So I've just done those little bits of touching up. You might be able to spot some of those changes. And I've managed to control the prestige. As you can see, the queue is not too long for it. So it's all good to go. We've managed to fight the game. Fight the power that is the game. Anyway, this is the station going on. Lots of detailing and stuff going on here. Let's actually see how bad this is. This is quite literally the inverted commas worst ghost train ever. Let's do it. Right, so you guys are going to need to tell me if that is full circle bad. Is it so bad it's good? Or is it just bad? I'm relying on you guys telling me, because you will. You'll absolutely point every single floor out, and I love it. So have to let me know. But the Wildmouse is still centerpiece. There's no reason for it, by the way. It's just the fact that it fitted in the center. I didn't want to make a thing of the Wildmouse, but it looks so good. And then over on the left-hand side here, we do have some central food units. Now, I put these in because I wanted to almost obscure the ride access or the ride area. I wanted to obscure access to the ride area by using shops and stuff, so I didn't have to use fences and these things. And I like how these turned out, actually. Once again, I didn't know if it was a little bit too bland, a little bit too basic, but it works, and it works really, really well. So yeah, this is what I did along here, and then it's just different colors and everything. So yes. Then we've got Scissor. Like how this turned out as well. This has got its own little canopy. It's got its own little thing, and it works out like it sits quite nicely on the sight line. Actually, it doesn't dominate, but it's very much there. And then if we turn to the right hand side, then we have our pirate ship. Well, I can't say pirate ship, it's our rocket ship, really, isn't it? Our rocket ship. And then we have Forge that's on this bit here, and then you also now have Hangman. So I love how this turned out. This is based on a real life counterpart. There's one called Hangover. It's a traveling version of a drop tower, so it does exist in real life as a traveling version. Slightly different. It's actually a roto tower in real life, but you know, you get the idea, you get the gist. And I like how this turned out in terms of kitting it out. Again, this was one of those where I wasn't really sure that it felt right, but now I've come back to it. I've let it settle and I've come back to it. I think it does settle right, and I think the sign makes it. I think this, if it wasn't for the sign, I think it would be questionable. Which is a weird thing to place so much emphasis on a sign, but it is what it is. So anyway, that's the drop tower. And the idea of the drop tower at the end of the pier, by the way, is so that you can see out to sea. Obviously, we can see trees and whatever, but you can see out to sea and you get some awesome views. But you'd also get a disappointing row, which is the one that faces shore. It's great. I love it. So coming back this way, gift shop on the right hand side. If you didn't want something thrilling for sights, then you could actually just go on the Ferris wheel, and you've got a Ferris wheel that's in there. And I've made the prestige on this one quite high, so it drags people onto it. So they're quite high capacity actually, these Ferris wheels. I think it's like 150 people it can do. So. And the queue can hold that number of people, so it's all good. But then we come to the Log Flume. I think this is my favourite Log Flume I've ever done, and before that would have been Reigate Lakes, but it's because we've got this viewing platform. So again, very similar to Brighton, you have a viewing platform that you can look out into the Log Flume. You can see all of the gubbins, but also at the same time, if you want to be nosy, you can see down into the maintenance area that's just behind it. But I think this is just perfectly set out. It's got the canvas canopy, typical of a travelling version of the Log Flume. I mean, the Log Flume itself is nothing special. It's just a travelling version. It's just a travelling layout. It is what it is. But there's this pool in here that would be the water, and the pool would be there to. Oops, there we go. The pool would be there to like distribute the weight of the water. And it's quite wide, so it's increased the surface area of the pool, and you can actually support it better from underneath in terms of the pier. So that's what this is all about, as opposed to just having one central pool. So this is the queue line for it, and then it comes up into the station. So the station, again, very tread plate. This is sort of like the metal tread plates and stuff, because they would be travelling versions. And then inside here, the station itself is really simple. It's just a simple design. I show you how to do the canopy, by the way, in the episode where this is built. So if you want to go and see that, then you absolutely can do. And then we come into here, and you can see just through. So there's a couple of splashes, and there's a boat just in time for us to go for a ride. So let's do it. And I mean, as far as log flumes go, it's a pretty solid layout. It's a travelling version, so you get what you get. You get what you pay for. But I quite like how it turned out. It's pretty realistic. It rides as I expect it to. And this is the end of the pier, so this is the view that you get from the station. It's slightly raised up, so you get a bit of a vantage point. Excuse the fact that you've got trees and cliffs and whatever in the background. As I said, this is there is no biome for coast, so just ignore that. Just look at the stuff in front. It's fine. And then we come around this way, and there's Mozzaroller sitting in the background. And as I said, there's no real reason why it's there. It just fitted there. It's not supposed to be a sight line or anything. And then on the right-hand side, we just walk past the pool. I wanted to make the water move, or make it look like it's moving. So these are all of the fountain splashes turned upside down. It's not perfect. It doesn't know boundaries and whatever, but it looks realistic enough, right? It makes it look like it's moving water. So squint for the bits that you don't like. And then there's our forgotten donut shop. I famously forgot to deck it out and kit it out when I put it in, so it was like a bit of a forgotten thing. So it's done, it's fine. And there's Fisherman's game stalls. They're so versatile, you can just pop them in anywhere and we are good to go. Now there's something on the right hand side I wanted to point out here, because this is where the pier gets a bit claustrophobic, and that's by design. That's how Brighton is as well. But I wanted to show you just how close the supports get to the Vekoma Whirlwind, and this is entirely by design, because the pier would have wanted to put these two as close as they possibly could together, right? So they would have literally had them probably touching at some point, but over periods of time they realised that's a bad idea. But the log flume itself is custom supported, so that's a thing. It's just using the in-game assets, and then so is the Vekoma Whirlwind. So I was able to fit them together quite nicely. And then if we walk down this way, we're going to go on Mozzaroller in a second, but we're just going to take a moment just to appreciate signage. So Spike makes another appearance on the channel. The medallion for Sea Viper is completely Spike's work, and he is such an artist. It's amazing. You can download these, search the workshop for Sea Viper, and you will find them. Or if you're a member of all of your typical Facebook groups for Planet Coaster, you will find that Spike has put the link and stuff on there. So they are public. You know, we're not hiding them or anything, but they are chef's kiss. Mwah. That's exactly what it is. Pure chef's kiss. And in the background, you've got my really crappy version of a sign in the background that's out of sync, and it's just badly programmed, but that's by design, right? It felt like this needed some kind of out of sync sign. Everything else was so polished and so well done, but it probably wouldn't be in real life. There would be lots of flaws, and so this would be one of them. Very, very obvious. And I love the fact, by the way, that it's like doesn't even complete the cycle properly. It's sort of like does the blue with the white, and then it just... Oh, I love it. It's just so perfectly rubbish. It's great. So this is then a station from Mozzaroller. That's really not a flattering angle of the station, is it? Let's retry again. So this is the station from Mozzaroller. It's very similar to one that I did in Disneyland. Actually, it's a bit of a take on that, because this would be a typical travelling fair style roller coaster station. So they are what they are. They're pretty much the same regardless to where you go. There's no real unique design about them. This is actually a really unflattering angle of the coaster, given that there are so many better ways we can look at it. So let's try that, shall we? This is gyro. We'll talk about that in a moment. This is Mozzaroller. There we go. So look at this mess of steel. And because it's a travelling fair version of a Wildmouse, it's proper spinny and spewy and disgusting. So it fits perfectly. This is part custom support, part in-game support. I did decide to keep the in-game support in the end. The custom supporting just where the track overlaps, and just to make it real and make it an actual thing. Right, let's head back round to the station. Lots of Harris fencing here, by the way. So there's lots of temporary queues, lots of rides that probably wouldn't have been here originally that have now been put in just to fill some space. And so Harris fencing, by the way, I know I've used this quite a lot, and some of you may not realise what it is. It's this temporary fencing that you get, typically used for events. And you can just take them away and stack them up and store them and whatever, as opposed to this, which would be a permanent version of a fence. So anyway, we're going to come through this way, up into the station, and this horrible, bland, open, drafty, cold station for a spinny, spewy Wildmouse. Just to let you know, by the way, the POV for the Wildmouse is a little choppy. I've worked out what it is. The game only has a certain number of spaces for sounds, or sounds that it can load in. And this pier park is trying to load more sounds than it has space for. So what happens is it has to purge a sound from somewhere else to load it in, and it causes the stutter because it pauses the animation and the simulation whilst it is doing that. So that's why it's choppy. I can't do anything about it. It's the limitation of the game, so don't even bother complaining about it. So here we go. Let's go for a ride. There you go. That's Mozzaroller, and I still love that name. It tickles me every single time I have to say it because it took me far longer than I care to admit to realise that it was a pun on mozzarella. So I'm ashamed by that. So anyway, we're going to walk down this way and we're going to go check out Sea Viper. So this is a Vekoma Whirlwind. It was something that I'd never even thought of. It was suggested in the community. And as soon as I did the research for it and the fact that it existed on Clacton Pier, I was like, this is a no-brainer. This has to go on this pier. This is what's going to set this pier build apart from Brighton. Because at the time of that being suggested, everything was following Brighton and it was like a proper rip-off. It was almost a recreation by that point. So it ended up coming in here and it looks awesome. It looks so good. We do have a shop on the right-hand side here. Just kitted it out with burgers and hot dogs and water and stuff. This would be like the Sea Viper shop. Wouldn't really necessarily have theming or branding, but it is what it is. But I wanted to make a feature of having the corkscrew here. So whilst you're stood here, you can see that there's the corkscrew that's going on in the background. So I kind of wanted that to be an actual thing, right? So, and I managed to do that. It's cool. Lots of games and stuff on the right hand side, and then we come through to the Sea Viper station. We'll talk about these in a moment because you know what they are. Surprise! So there we go. There's Sea Viper. Awesome view of the lift hill. Awesome view of like the turnaround. Not so much of the corkscrews, but this is the station. Very similar actually to the station for the Wildmouse, because again they're traveling fair versions of stations. You just get what you get. You get what you get. They're all just steel structures. That's all they are. But if we walk up into the actual station itself, you can see that we've got a triangular station or a pyramid station or whatever you want to call it. We've got these pitched roof basically, but inside it's really simple. Now there's nothing we can do about these supports. They have to be there because they support the coaster. So this is why you've got the warning signs and stuff that are going along in here. It's all your usual stuff, by the way. It's still kitted out as you would find in a typical roller coaster station. But like I said, for the Eurofighter, you don't kit it out in the same way you would do a permanent park. So it looks very different. So here we go. This is the actual station itself, and I reckon we go for a ride. Let's do it. I mean, it's cool. For an actual coaster type, it's a fairly decent coaster type. It's compact enough to fit into a space that you don't have a lot of room for, right? So I like how it's turned out, and it's cool. And this is the view you get from the exit, and you get a pretty cool view of Bombora. I like it. I love it. But of course, as you walk out of the exit, make sure you play a game on the way through. Thank you very much. And then we come to what would possibly be the oldest structure, or one of the oldest structures on the piers. These toilets, they would have been here since the pier originally opened in Victorian times, and they would have been toilets then as well. And the inside probably hasn't changed much either. May have had a little bit of modernisation, but the decor itself probably is no different. So if you actually walk in, yes, it's a Chacho toilet. I decorate the inside of my toilets, and I'm not even sorry. Oh, I've forgotten to put a disabled sign here, by the way. So my toilets always have a disabled toilet, which is always the wide door, but I've just forgotten to put a sign in here, so it's fine. But yeah, I always kit out the inside of my toilets, and I wanted this to feel like a Victorian toilet. Very similar. I need to be careful how I say this. Very similar to the old London Underground stations. And by that, I'm not saying that London Underground stations are like Victorian toilets. I mean, you can draw conclusions from that, but similar design. It's this tile effect, the green tile effect that's on here, the slate effect on here, and then the wood runners and the really bland plain plaster style ceiling. That's what I'm going for in here. So, and I pull it off. I think I like how this has turned out. Like, it's a toilet. Nobody ever does their toilets. So there we go. I do, because I'm a weirdo. So we're going to walk down this way, and we find our two, what would probably be newest rides on the pier, and they've been like shoved together because they've just put them there. Like, there may have been something else here, and they've just removed them and been done with it, and we're good to go, right? So these would be the two newest thrill rides. I wanted to make an effort with these, so I've done a little bit of a a little bit of a partial cover for this. We've just put some lights and stuff on, but I've only kitted out the side that the guests would see. This is how lazy the pier would be. And then this one here, the Insanity, I didn't realise there was a travelling fair version of these, but there is. And I think these actually give off the vibe of being travelling versions of these rides, realistically enough, for Planet Coaster. I mean, I've seen better versions of these on the workshop of giving off the travelling fair vibes, but I think this does what it needs to do. It is what it is. It's a shame they're not. It's a shame they're not really ultimately running together, right? Because I'd love to have been able to show you what it looks like with the two running side by side, because it is pretty cool. But I do show you in the episode where these are placed, so if you did want to go and see it, you could. But yeah, this is pretty much there. Now, I wanted this one, by the way, to actually feel like it was in the way. So the Insanity itself sits there quite nicely on the sight line. So the pier comes around this way, and this just sits right in the way, and that's because I wanted this to feel like it was just placed there. It was where they just had a bit of space, and they've just, you know, been done with it, and hope for the best, right? So that's kind of what we're going for with that feeling. Again, it's all the tread plate stuff that's going on, so all consistent with that. And then we come around this way to the afterburner, and again, it's just lots of lights and lots of sounds and lots of stuff. This also lights up at night as well, which is pretty cool. This, by the way, dragged from the workshop. I used it in Disneyland, so I can't really take any credit for it, so I'm not going to, but it's awesome, and it fits quite nicely here. And again, it's this Harris fencing style sort of ride, so it's awesome. It's cool. I like this area. It's like the thrill part of the area. Right, so let's go and check out the city before we check this out at night, right? So let's walk back down this way. So we come back through, down past the pier, and look at the city. Like, I just love how this sits. It just feels like a city. Again, excusing the backdrop, it feels like an actual city. So we're going to carry on walking this way. This time we're going to go around the outside of the pier, or outside of the ballroom, because I wanted to show you something on the outside. And I don't remember whether I put it down that side or this side. I think it's this side. It's the clutter that I want to show you. There we go. Yeah, so Brighton has this obsession with not hiding clutter, because they can't. They've got nowhere to hide it, so it's on view, very, very plainly on view, and that's what I wanted to go for here. Plus, as well, you haven't actually seen the outside of the ballroom from this side. So these are just panels that I made and then copied across, but it looks so effective and so amazing. Like, they took ages to perfect and ages to get right, but I love it. Like, it's just so good. So good. More clutter then on the right-hand side, and then even more clutter on the right-hand side. I mean, at least they've tried to keep it tidy, but no. And then the ballroom itself, it is what it is. Like, it's good. I love it. It's a dome. It works as a dome, so it's fine. And you still got the sounds and stuff coming from the ballroom. Maybe that wouldn't be so true, but it's fine. And then on the outside here, you've just got spaces for more seats to look out at sea. And then it's like a cover, just in case it's raining or windy or stormy or whatever. You can still sit there and enjoy the weather. But yeah, so this is what we're going for in terms of the outside. Keep walking around then, this way. And we come around this way. I'm going to walk down here. We're now running, by the way. We're not actually walking. We are officially running. So we're back at the entrance. So in my original plan, by the way, this was going to be some kind of aquarium or some kind of waxwork, you know, like Madame Tussauds or something like that. And I was going to kit it out, but I decided against it. I was like, no, I'm just going to keep it like this. You know, and keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. He says, as he's about to show you some pretty intricate, detailed work for a city. Well, I'm aware of the irony. So we walk down this way. You would have seen all these buildings before, by the way. They are the buildings from Fundy Fun Spot that were submitted by the community. I am just recycling these and repurposing these because they were so good. They needed to be used again. So there we go. And we've got a car park that's not in use at the moment, but we do have a car park sitting there on the right hand side. But this is really what I wanted to show you. It's I don't know how you get down there, actually. I think it's this way. Yeah, it's this way, through the car park. There we go. I don't even know my own city, but it's fine. So it's the plaza area, and I'm showing you this first because I love how this turned out. So good. I mean, you've got the view tower there anyway, and this is very much based on Brighton's i360. So yeah, it's pretty much there. It's a carbon copy, but I just love how this plaza turned out because you've got these along this sort of like fountain structure that comes around in a spiral. So when you look at it from the top down, it's a spiral, and then when it's lit up at night, the lights create like dapples, and it actually looks like a seashell. And that was the whole purpose of this. Now, I didn't talk about this in the city episode because I didn't want to bore you with the detail. But if you have a look at it at night, which I'll show you shortly, you'll see that it actually does look like a seashell when the light is shining. So there's kind of a bit of a design there. And then these bits here, it's like a fan. So it's supposed to represent currents and tides and whatever. And the waves coming into shore. So it's coming in towards the eye. So you think of like here in the UK, I don't know what it's like elsewhere in the world, but here in the UK, a typical low tide coming into high tide, you get really long waves that break along the shore. That's kind of what this is going for here. You have inside just a gift shop. I'm not going to take you in here because I do this in the episode, but like through the shop. You can see there's the entrance to the actual ride itself. Here are tickets and stuff. And then this side, you do have just a restaurant. I didn't do too much work in here. I just wanted it to feel like a restaurant. I didn't actually kit it out to its full extent. And then this is another massive, massive social space. So you've got a carbon copy reverse image of the waves. Then you've got another shell fountain. And then you just have this awesome social space. And I wanted to put this in because I wanted to show off the Chacho colours, but also have a little bit of a breaking point in a plaza as well. And I love how this just feels. And then this side, this is Moomin's shop from Fundy Fun Spot. I don't know, which one is it? Was it Dismay or was it Fundy? No, it's Fundy. Fun Spot. And then we also do have a bit of a fishing village here, right? So this is just fishing boats and stuff that are put in here. You'd be able to go out to sea. And this shop here would be selling the produce and stuff that you would catch. So this would be all the fish and stuff that you've caught along the way. And then Fisherman's Waves just finish this site off. They're all on triggers. It absolutely kills your FPS. It absolutely kills your game. But my God, it's worth having in because they just look like waves. They just look like waves. And if I come through this way, just looks like waves. Look at them. It's amazing. Like, I wouldn't even think of doing that myself. So absolutely brilliant. And especially when you put them in different heights, you just get different things. And then when it offsets against the site of the pier in the background, this viewpoint. Another chef's kiss. This is my own chef's kiss, though. I don't often get to do that. But yeah, I love how this is. And if you can now just imagine that this would be water. By the way, some of you have suggested putting billboards up and colouring stuff and whatever. That's an FPS killer. That really does kill your game because you need, I think it's around 10 to 15,000 screens to hide this background. No, I'm just happy to have the trade-off here, right? So it is what it is. So we're going to walk up the stairs here. There we go, back up to the city, and we've just got lots of bits going along. I'm just going to take a walk along this side, so you can see the streets. And do you know what this is taking? This is taking a while. I'm just going to do this. And we're going to go over here so I can actually start to show you at night. So this is the other side of the city. This is where a little bit less work was done. But you do have the Shorehaven Eye that's over on here. So you've got Eye and Fly. And then this over here was another shock that came across me. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't realise I could do this. Hydro's mulch could be used as rubber matting. So we've got a playground that's in here. And I love it. It's just turned out so well. The playground, by the way, I've used in most of my builds. I started it in Reigate Lake. It was dragged off the workshop. The playground is not mine. But the layout and the decor of it is. Right, let me show you this at night. And then I'm going to show you something that I've been working on as a bit of a surprise. So this is at night. So we're just going to come over to the plaza area first because I show you how to do this in the city build, by the way, but you can see that these are cycling through colours, and I think this just finishes it off. It's just so awesome. This is just, I'm glad I managed to make it cycle because I was just going to leave it as a single colour, but I'm glad I made it cycle. This is what I was telling you about the effect with the lights. It makes it look like an actual shell, particularly this one. I think this one's probably a bit sparse, but this one definitely looks like a shell, and that was the effect that I was genuinely going for. Then this is the pier from the front at night, and this is where all of the lights and stuff, that, you know, the twinkles really come to life, and it really makes it believable as a pier. Now, remembering that British piers, they close at night, so you don't have massive grand light packages as such, but yeah, it's just so good. I love it. I love it. And then you've got the ballroom. So the ballroom follows the same pattern. So you've got the twinkles and you've got the searchlights and the lights going on for the signage and all of that sort of stuff. It just looks, yeah, I love it. It's so good. It just comes to life. It feels really warm. And then you have the pier itself. Look at this. Just from this view, it just comes to life. It just pops to life because all of the rides have got such beautiful lighting anyway, and then you've just got the signs that are flashing and the rides that are moving, and there's a lot. It's got a lot of depth to it, and I really love it. And then Spike's signs as well, they come to life at night. So there's the Sea Viper sign, there's the medallion, which is just the Viper. So good, so good. And then the Mozzaroller sign as well. That comes to life at night. Actually, you can see that slightly better from this side. There we go. So there's the Mozzaroller sign from the side. And you've got Frightened Manor. That's the sign over there. And then you do just have Hangman over here, and then that's playing. So this sequence is then playing with this. On the actual ride itself. So yeah, it's it's got some nighttime stuff. Now I wanted to come up this way because I need to show you something, but I do need to sort it out that I actually trigger it because this is like the finale. I'll see you in a real quick mo. There we go. Told you it was going to be a real quick mo. So I've paused the game because I've just triggered something for you to see. But guys, before we do, I just wanted to thank you for getting to the end of this episode. And for the end of this series. I mean, this has been so much more fun than I thought it was going to be. I genuinely thought this was just going to be a bit of a throwaway series, a bit like Disneyland was, but you guys have made this what it is. So to say thank you, I have done something special in this one. I'm by the way, I'm making this up far more than I need to. I'm just going to press play and you can be done with it because I've never done this before. It's fireworks. And it felt like the pier needed to have some kind of a celebration, so I've just put in some fireworks. And by the way, if you do want to know how to trigger fireworks, have a look at the city episode. You do it the same way that you do the the letters and stuff. But yeah, every night they would be some kind of fireworks and something going off, and there we go. It's nothing special. It's not timed or triggered, or they're just fireworks. But that's typically what we would do on a British pier like this. They wouldn't be a sequenced display or anything. I've realised I've just talked through the entire display, the entire show. I'm that guy in the cinema, by the way. You can probably tell. Guys, thank you so much for your support. The next park episodes are going to start very shortly. So I will see you for that. But until we speak again, please look after yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye.